Some general housekeeping. Over here, you will see our student Rebecca.
It's going to be live on. Nice one, cheers,
Rebecca, who is in the red vest. Now, if we receive any nonsense from any people,
we are live. Let me know in the chat if we have sound, if we have video.
But if they keep pestering you, there's Rebecca. Over here, in the red. The second thing is that if you need the toilet, there are toilets in the light, which I believe is just around the corner that way. I believe there are gender toilets, there are big accessible. If you go to the toilet, please leave the and return into the possible. Return this way, because it's a okay, that's that stuff. You were here this time last year. Russell It's good to see you again, and it's good to meet you who weren't here this week. Why is that? Why are we shouting?
It's a touch quiet.
Today? It's because
hope you can hear.
When the government made minor adjustments to transphobic EHRC guidance they published last year, they forgot to take out the transphobia. And now it's being instated. Including, of course, they didn't just forget. This is an ongoing tactic to vilify our beloved trans women, to make it easier for transphobes to hold power, to make it harder for allies to fight for us, and to divide and distract the working class from bringing down the people at the helm of oppression. But as hard as they try to create hostility, we aren't going anywhere, and we've got friends. We've got cis comrades who love us and will fight with us. Today we've got some incredible people to speak on this today, and a brilliant top secret folk musician to sing some songs. First up is from the Green Party, our speaker Eden.
Everyone. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know me, because I realise there's quite a lot of people who know me. My name's Eden, I'm the City Councillor for the Green Party here in London Woodhouse, which is this ward. I do have a speech, it's quite reasonable, so I'm just going to sort of read it off, and I hope that's okay. I stand here today both as a councillor and as a trans woman who knows what it means to move through public life under scrutiny. I want to speak very plainly about the human consequences of the recent guidance issued by the EHRC in response to the Supreme Court ruling on the meaning of women in the Equality Act. Because standing here with us today are plenty of real people trying to live ordinary lives in dignity and safety that this guidance is going to impact. I'm going to be relatively candid because I think it's important to make clear what's at stake for each of us personally. The EHRC guidance tells trans women that organisations can choose to exclude us from women's spaces, encouraging us to use spaces for men. This is guidance that has been informed by consultation with anti-trans groups like Sex Matters, among others, whose Director of Advocacy has stated in an interview that she would like to reduce or keep down the number of people who transition on the basis that we are damaged and represent a huge problem to a sane world. The harm that results from this approach and from the more exclusionary ways of interpreting the HRC's guidance will not be theoretical. A few years ago, when I was still too nervous to use women's facilities as a trans woman, I was assaulted in the men's bathroom by a man. It was my friends, all cis women, who in the aftermath of that told me to always use the women's bathroom and to never disrespect myself or put myself in danger like that again. Now I, like many other trans women in our community, don't think twice about being in women's facilities because this panic is ultimately manufactured by anti-trans campaign groups and gender critical commentators. But that doesn't mean it has no real world impact. In practice, it will mean many trans women avoiding public toilets altogether, not being in public for any significant length of time, and remaining in the home. It will also mean more people being challenged in public because they don't align with a particular feminine ideals, not only trans women but many non-conforming cisgender women too. And it will mean employers and service providers becoming frightened of inclusion and being worried that they may face complaints or legal action simply for treating trans people with humanity. We should also be honest about who bears the brunt of this exclusionary climate. young trans people, disabled trans people, working class trans people who are already struggling with loneliness, housing insecurity, and mental health difficulties. In reality, trans women and cis women are in community, and the solidarity that we show each other every day is all the more reason to keep going. As women, we face disproportionately high risks of physical and sexual violence. In January, I was raped in Leeds on the way home from a night out. It made me feel unsafe being in public and almost prevented me from running in the recent election for fear that the man who did that to me would become someone that I represented as a constituent. Ever since, almost every trans woman, every cis or trans, that I've spoken to about that experience has shared a similar story. In the end, we face the same threat, and that threat comes primarily from cisgender men. The solution has always been a strong movement of feminist solidarity, and I think that's been demonstrated here today. When public institutions frame a minority group as a problem to be managed, society reacts. Abuse and harassment will skyrocket. As a councillor and as a member of the Green Party, I have a responsibility not to inflame the fear that causes that reaction, but to uphold the safety of my ward residents, which has always included and always will include a vibrant trans community. So I will always stand up for compassion, for evidence over panic, and for inclusion over exclusion. In the end, history will judge us by whether we defended the humanity of the vulnerable, even as it becomes politically difficult to do so. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eden, and yeah, it's brilliant to have more trans representation on the council fighting for us. We're just going to do a couple more chants just before we go into the next speech. So just kind of repeat after me. Obviously, some of you might have some trans sheets with you. When trans people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When trans people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Woo! Alright, next we're going to have Sally from Troublemakers at Work, who's going to talk a little bit more about fighting for workers' rights and trans rights.
Hello everyone, I'm Sally. I'm a coordinator at Troublemakers at Work, an organisation focused on building the rank and file movement in trade unions. As trade unionists, fighting alongside our trans colleagues, comrades and community members is not an option, it's a must. The ideas behind the attacks on trans people are not new, they are right-wing and they envision a fascist state. These ideas are that you are not the authority on your own body and on your own life. Instead, the authority on your body and your life are the police, the courts, the state, and everyone they embolden to act on their behalf. That includes the workplaces where bosses are looking for any excuse to underpay workers, employ them in awful conditions, and to create a tiered workforce which can then be played against each other. This is not a world I want to live in, and this is not a world we can live in. We sadly see how people are being drawn to some of these transphobic and other fascist ideas while refuting others. But fascism is not a pick and mix, no matter how much so-called radical feminists pretend it is. They think that they can just choose the parts of right-wing ideology that they like, and then kick back and enjoy the world they helped create. However, the history of my home country, Germany, has shown that when fascists are in the swing of attacking trans people, gay people, Jewish people of various nationalities, ethnic minorities, trade unionists, socialists, communists, the homeless, disabled people, what they called work shy, and even eventually Christians, they also like to corner each other. We have seen parts of the transphobic movement even deny that trans people were victims of fascist regimes in the past. Now, whose interest does that narrative serve? Sadly, Secondly, the trade union movement itself saw some trade unions becoming places of exclusion. And guess what? It made them weaker. It made strikes less effective because they didn't include the whole workforce. But this exclusion also left those excluded vulnerable to the boss's authority and cruelty. We have a lot to do as trade unionists to create a better world, a world where trans people do not just survive, but thrive. Our tide needs to raise everyone up. At work, we need to stand firmly with our trans colleagues. We need to hold our workplaces accountable when we see that trans people are not receiving equal treatment. And we need to create an environment as workers in our workplaces where bosses know that if they even try and injure anyone because they belong to a group that the state has decided can be discriminated against, they will, to put it mildly, not have a good time. So please, if you haven't yet, join a trade union, but even more, everybody, please be active in that union and fight to make your union the space you want to see in the world, so we can transform our workplaces and beyond, so that together as workers we can bring about the change that trans people need and deserve, and show the bosses and this state and its agents that their crackdown on trans people is unworkable because of us. Thank you.
One fight. Oh no, I got it wrong. Trans rights, women's rights. One struggle, one fight. Nice. Okay, next up we have Luke from RS21.
Yeah, so as Pooh said, my name's Luke. I'm a Unite Workplace representative, member of RS21 Leeds and some Mix at Work. We stood here in the same place last year protesting the same guidance. I know you must feel angry and worn down. I feel it too. But I also feel heartened. The idea for this demo emerged out of a Troublemakers at Work event at the weekend to strategise about how we resist the rise of far-right ideas in our workplaces and beyond. Sometimes we can mistake there is a popular hostility against us that set back our rights. This is understandable when simple everyday choices about how to present can feel like running a gauntlet. But the event reminded me that trans people have not only been at the forefront of fighting for queer and trans as well as workers' rights, but also that our comrades are everywhere. There is only in coalition and solidarity with working class people that we can win, that our struggles and freedoms are fundamentally intertwined. Though the code of practice has been said not to apply to workplaces, a great deal of workplaces like mine are also sites of service delivery. It is one of the many ways in which the guidance is incoherent and unworkable on its own terms, a licence simply for bigotry and cruelty. Any worker not deemed to fit patriarchal stereotypes could be caught in the crosshairs, contravening other protections in the Equality Act and the workplace health and safety regulations. But it could also force workers into the compromising position of policing the community we serve and supporting our jobs. This would itself then become harassment, a violation of the right to privacy and dignity of trans people, a catch-22. This is not just technicality. Workers will not abide the invidious intent of this legislation. Most people want to do their best by others and not harm them. This is especially the case in sectors where this guidance is poised to do the most damage. It is an affront to the humanity of everybody. And it is up to ordinary people everywhere whether we choose to enforce it or not. Building well-organised unions is one of the strongest means we have to empower each other and to collectively defy such unjust measures. The rich and powerful have always sought to legislate division and hatred. They profit from inequality, whilst the rest of us struggle with the cost of living, with the budget NHS, with the lack of housing. But we who sustain our communities and run our society have the final power. The power to undo that law, to grind the gears to a halt, to change the world. We're already changing it, choosing to be here today. Trans people should be proud to be natural troublemakers and disruptors of the system. We threaten its norms, its traditions, its dictates, is why they attack us. But we don't fight back alone. Grassroots members in the biggest trade unions from PCS to Unite are overcoming entrenched bureaucracies to pass pro-trans policy. And if the recent example of unions in Durham stepping up to fund Pride when the Reform Council withdrew funding is anything to go by, we have more allies than enemies in the working class than you might imagine. So let's make trouble together.
When trans people are under attack, what do we do? When trans people are under attack, what do we do? That's right. Okay, next I'm going to reveal our top secret musician. Happy Paris!
This first song's called Blindfolded, and I actually wrote it on that note down there after someone called me a horrible name, and it's about how I like it. As you walk by, I let go again. Just for passers-by, we have to be just friends. I'm asking questions like it's casually, while working out for you which version of me I can safely be. And look at tormenting red scarred skin, trying to scrub away graffiti, trying to scrub away the sin. When your teachers are your bullies and your friends are your bullies too, it starts to feel like the problem is you. So I won't go blindfolded to the multitude of lies, to the one night only corporate sponsored idea of pride, while I watch my friends and parents' children getting harassed on our streets. But you can buy your rainbow-coloured packets of sweets. I'm laughing it off, I'm looking away, tears prickling behind my eyes, while he's asking me countless invasive questions about which part of me's girl and which part of me's guy. So I take a deep breath, I think of our futures and say what I was frightened to say. Instead, don't get triggered, it was banter anyway. To tolerate and not be part of the fight. Yet be a better ally if you were silent while the Supreme Court took away our rights. Yet be a better ally if you're stood at the parade and you're cheering cars funding genocide. And be a better ally if fear like this isn't something you recognize. 30 years from now, when we look back, you're gonna want to say you did everything you could. So don't let them take you blindfolded. Thank you. That was blindfolded. I'm going to sing a song called Fireworks, and I wrote it I wrote it the night before I got top surgery and feeling like really excited but also really frightened, and thinking about the fact that like I live near Lovell Park, and I was looking at the park and there are all these people setting fireworks off, and they do it every year on New Year's, and then every time the cop is like shutting down, but they still do it, we still come out and still like have a nice time despite the fact that we're told that we're not allowed on the land. And it made me think a little bit about being trans and how like throughout history we're told that we aren't allowed to exist, but we find ways to exist anyway, and ultimately they're going to criticise us whatever we're doing, so we might as well exist. And yeah, that's what it's about. It's called Fireworks. Go up to the top floor balcony to light fireworks that set off illegally, like we have done every New Year's Eve since we reclaimed our lives. But that patch of earth belongs to someone, and so like last year we see coppers come, and there's an exodus of us, city centre skies, they light fireworks as they run by. The air is thick with smoke, and I can't breathe out the sound, and you hold my hand, and there's something so profound about the life we chose, and where we're stood, and the knowledge that this year was far less bad than good. In 24 hours I'll be on a plane, in 62 I'll be in surgery, to make a decision that was just for me, to stand in a body that feels right. When I'm talking to my therapist, they'll always say multiple things that exist, and though I know that you don't understand, I hope you can feel happy and alive. Our country's full of pain, there's no exception to that rule. When they need a win, transphobia gets them straight to news, like I'm your easy kill. The time I hand like my wrists for the awful time, trying to exist. The world it was built for folk like us, from fraction daytime TV guests, and their bigotry serves a purpose. It's like a cultural hallmark, and I'm inspired by how folk like I find a joy at the worst time. 'Cause either way you're getting criticised, so you might as well set fireworks off in the park. Thank you. I'm going to sing one more song, and if it's okay, I want you to sing with me. So I'm going to teach it. It always feels really awkward. It might feel more awkward for me because I'm the one talking, but I promise it's not awkward, but also you don't have to sing. So those are the disclaimers. But I'm going to sing a line and I want you to sing it back to me, but only for this. Solidarity forever. Can you try that? Solidarity forever. Beautiful. And then solidarity forever. Something tells me you've been through a process before. And then, okay, we'll just sing the chorus and you'll just sing along and we'll know. Oh, but it's not about the union. I do love a union, but today it's for together we are strong, because the union, we'll talk about them later. So the chorus sounds like this. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for together we are strong. Those in power hold us hostage chains. They think that we don't see, writing brand new legislation to cover their bigotry and saying the outcomes aren't their responsibility. But together we are strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever. I'm watching my trans siblings suffer on waiting lists for their healthcare legislation, fueled by bigotry, not just a lack of care. And they act like we are crazy for trying to protect welfare, but together we are strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, together we are strong. Last year, hate crime on trans children rose by over 10%, but on LGBT action, less than 4 million was spent. But 37 million on fast trains that never went, and together we are strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for together we are strong. They ignore the points we're making, call us snowflakes, say we're strange, say there's naught that can be done, these structures can't be rearranged. But truly, I believe together our voices make change, and together we are strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, but together we are strong. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, solidarity forever, all together we are strong. I didn't know what was going to happen. I released a record after the Supreme Court ruling about kind of how it felt because of the Supreme Court ruling. It felt like the world was telling us that survivors of gender-based violence and trans people were two completely separate existences and we had to rival. But actually so many of us in the trans community are also survivors of gender-based violence. And actually there's loads of statistics that prove that we're actually at higher chances of being survivors of gender-based violence. And I remember I agreed to make chili for a friend's top surgery fundraiser on the evening of the day that the Supreme Court ruling happened. And I didn't want to do it because I can't cook, and also I didn't want to walk through the city centre. But I did, and I remember going to Wharf and seeing all these lovely people who were queer, and like there just being so much joy in the room. And it made me think about how throughout history, there's a folk song called Bread and Roses, and it's about how we need our bread and our roses. So we need the fundamentals to survive and the beautiful things. But throughout history, queer people, we've had our bread taken away from us. We don't have those fundamentals, but it feels like sometimes we find ways to survive off the roses alone, and that's what this song's about. city's full of football fans and parades waving their flags. Why are there no Facebook posts about how they are holding up the traffic? It's not that I think football's bad, like, have you met my girlfriend's dad? But how come they get a parade and no one's saying it's symptomatic? My therapist's on annual leave, but if they didn't invite me, they'd learn to laugh when I ask if I am their favourite client. I started going twice a week when nightmares wouldn't seem to cease. Sometimes I tally up the cost and I am paying for the silence. Maybe I'm grieving the good future that I promised so many queer kids. We are yelling to our allies, but the silence from some of them feels threatening. This city's full of folk like me. This city's full of folk like me, afraid to turn on our TVs. Cause every time we do, there's more bad news that's bleak on bleak on bleak. My body learned to float away, I watch myself from outer space. And I learned to dissociate to get to the end of the week. And in that 50-minute hour, the anguish can't even begin. I'd be scared I would get sectioned if I still wrote it on my skin. But my body, it is safer, much safer than it has been. And I can't let it get too bad, cause what gendered ward would I go in? And I'm laughing, making jokes so fast I don't have time to even stop and breathe. I can't bear to be quiet. I don't know where my mind would go if I got a chance to breathe. There are new laws trying to define what womanhood looks like, in case men hurt you in the guise of pretending to be women. But a man abused me in broad daylight for my first 18 years. He didn't have to hide in an identity, cause either way nobody stopped him. Jury never heard my story, justice will never be served. I've got more chance of growing wings or my queerness being cured. And you might say it's not so bad, sit on the fence cause it's complex, but know when they came for us first, they'll be coming for you next. Yes, they come for our rights first, and they'll come for yours next. And I think feminism taught me womanhood is varied, within it there's no wrong or right. And I'm a feminist, but I don't understand how you'd use our language to further marginalize. I am painfully optimistic, perhaps I am just in pain. So confident things will get better cause they cannot stay the same. And we won't let them criminalise our literal existence, cause when shit's as bad as this, joy's political resistance. So I'll meet you at the demo, and we'll buy chips on our way home just before the shop closes. Yeah, they'll take away our bread, but you and I will find a way to live exclusively off roses. Off roses, off roses, off roses.
Nice, everybody. Alright, let's get back to some speaking. Next we're going to hear from Hal from Sarsfield.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Yes, my name is Hel and I'm from Sarsfield, aka Support After Rape and Sexual Violence Leeds. We're a charity based in Leeds and we support women, girl and non-binary survivors of rape and sexual violence who feel that our women-centred approach is right for them. We offer advocacy, counselling and helpline support. Woo! Thank you. We've been a specialist rape crisis centre in Leeds for over 16 years, and I've worked there for half that time. And over that time, we've grown in size, output, and we've expanded our values. I want to give a little bit of a snapshot into the current services and climate at Sarsville. The centres like ours, you will probably be aware, are often used as cannon fodder in the fight to exclude trans women from women's spaces. This past year, we've recruited and trained 9 helpline volunteers, which is our only anonymous service and the only service which can be accessed without a waiting list. This service is vital and last year received almost 4,000 contacts. Our counselling service has a waiting list of over 100 survivors, each waiting for our trauma-informed specialist counselling where they can receive support in a one-to-one and/or a group space. We can only accept 10 referrals a month in order to prevent our waiting list from getting unethically long, and when we open to new referrals, we often have to close within 30 minutes. The demand for this service is growing year on year. Finally, our advocacy service supports survivors aged 13 and over who are going through the gruelling process of reporting sexual violence to the police. I should know it's gruelling. I was in ISFA for 4.5 years. I worked with individuals throughout the entire criminal justice process. The police, the CPS and court backlogs mean that our advocates now keep cases open for usually over 4 years. From report to court used to be a 2 or 3 year journey. Now it is more like 5 or 6. 81% of our staff, volunteer and trustees have lived experience of sexual violence. If you are aware of the statistics of the prevalence of sexual violence perpetrated against women and girls, this should not shock you. Now at this point you're probably thinking, why have you not mentioned trans people at all? What the hell? This is a demo about trans rights. You stupid woman. That's not an accident. That's kind of the point. Of all the challenges we face as an organisation, trans people are not one of them. Less than 1% of survivors accessing our services are trans, a number which is proportionate to the population of trans people in Leeds, according to the 2021 census. Trans people do not pose a threat to me, my colleagues, or the CIS survivors also seeking support at Sarsville. The threats we face as a women-centred organisation working with victims and survivors of rape, childhood sexual abuse and any other form of sexual violence do not come from trans people. They come from the oppressive systems that uphold the white supremacist capitalist patriarchy that keeps us all tied down. They come from the funding crisis, the cost of living crisis and the housing and homelessness crisis. They come from war and genocide, forcing women out of their homes into unsafe and unknown environments, or forcing women to stay in homes with abusive partners or relatives. The threats to us come from the men who sexually harass, abuse and rape women and girls, and indeed who abuse men, boys and people of all genders, and face no justice, no accountability and no shame. Shame. Being a women-centred service that wants to prioritise the inclusion of all women, including trans women and non-binary people who feel our women-centred approach is right for them, is becoming an increasingly challenging position to take as lobbyists, organisations and billionaires try to exclude trans people from services like ours. But we have always and we continue to overcome great challenges, all while continuing to provide specialist service to survivors. That is kind of our thing. We know what we're doing. And we want to be very clear. Excluding trans survivors from rape crisis centres does nothing for the safety, dignity and rights of survivors. We remain unequivocally strongly committed to delivering services to women, including trans women and girls, and those non-binary survivors who feel our service is right for them, and who have survived and suffered rape and sexual abuse. Because as intersectional feminists, we know that this is the ethical and the right thing to do, and we do it with pride. And this evening we stand in solidarity with our trans sisters, siblings and brothers who have ever suffered sexual violence. We see you and we hear you and we believe you. Thank you.
Elsa and Emily to Ron Workers House.
Hi.
Acting from Workers' Power, everybody.
Thank you. The target today is trans people, but the project is wider. To reassert the discipline of the family, the policing of bodies, and fixed gender roles over all women and men. Once the state licenses officials to decide who counts as a real man or woman, it arms every boss, manager, landlord, and bigot with a new weapon against anyone whose body, clothing, sexuality, or behavior breaks the norm. Trans people are the sharp end of a broader offensive against women's autonomy, queer liberation, and the right of working class people to live without the state and employer surveillance. There is no genuine conflict between women's rights and trans rights. Women's services have been destroyed by 15 years of Tory, now Labour, and former Tories, now Reform, promising to continue it. Austerity, everyone's favourite. It is Tory and Labour councillors that have destroyed women's services, that have made it impossible for domestic abuse survivors to escape their living situation, for disabled women to get proper facilities that enable them to live free and healthy and satisfying lives. The same disabled facilities that trans people will now have to use. Because the secret is, all of those things that would actually improve vulnerable women's lives, they'll make it harder for men who want to take advantage of them. Cis men who are taking advantage of them cost money. Fucking over trans people doesn't. Theoretically, it would cost their billionaire cronies to implement new gender-neutral facilities. Theoretically, if they took it seriously at all. But of course, they won't. We know they won't. They'll use the existing disabled facilities and they'll say, that's good enough. And trans people will have to self-select, or, more likely, it will be unenforceable because those who pass will not be questioned. Or, those who don't pass and are cis women will be questioned. Because, make no mistake, in class society and capitalism, the demands that we conform to strict gender roles pit us against each other. The idea that you can determine who and who isn't a woman because you just know is oppressive to women. And the same forces, the same billionaires that are pushing these transphobic agendas, despite this not being popular policy, as polls have shown time and time again, the same billionaires that, well, I would call it ironic, but they wouldn't, fund groups which oppose abortion, the same groups are fighting workers' rights, are fighting unions every step of the way. And make no mistake, trans rights are workers' rights, because trans comrades are comrades that can be on the picket line. Thank you.
Trans rights, workers' rights.
One struggle, one fight.
Okay, finally.
Vote up.
I've got it. We're the Trans Liberation Group.
Hi everyone, it's a real privilege to speak at such a big crowd today, and thank you for hanging around with my speech.
Thank you.
So I'm here on behalf of Trans Liberation Group. We are a nationwide organisation of trans circles.
I want to tell you a little bit about how we came to be. The fight for trans liberation has been a long one. Yes, in recent times, trans people have come under attack. We've seen the fantasist Munchnet press become mainstream journalism. We've seen supportive institutions threatened by superfluous lawsuits, bankrolled by the far-right and vindictive individuals. We've seen the ideological capture of the courts and the Equality and Human Rights Commission, turning these bodies that are supposed to uphold our liberty into the tools of our oppression. And yet, even before this recent repressive turn, were we truly free? Under the Equality Act and its supposed protections, we face years-long waits to access essential health care, and even then we are subjected to humiliating processes. As trans people, we still face barriers to employment and housing. For those lucky enough to find a job, in our workplaces, many of us face harassment and poor working conditions. With some of us lucky enough to enjoy token acceptance and well-meaning but ultimately shallow corporate EBI policies. On paper, our rights have recently been eroded. In practice, our liberty has never been realised. With Trans Liberation Group, our name is very deliberate. It is tragic to see the Equality Act being unilaterally changed by a group of unelected judges. I would call it anti-democratic. Restoring the Equality Act would be a good start. But we need to start thinking beyond an institutional, individual, rights-based approach if we are ever to enjoy the simple freedom of existing true to ourselves. Real liberty can exist only where exploitation has been abolished, where there is no oppression of some by a powerful few, and where there is no fear of waking up to find yourself deprived of work, housing, or bodily autonomy. This is as true for all people as it is for trans people. That is why we call for trans liberation, and the liberation of all people from the yoke of capital. So what can we do? Fight! The fight for trans rights over the last few decades has been disconnected from trans struggle. We've relied on champions to act on our behalf. We have looked for patrons in the political classes to take on our cause out of sheer goodwill, or more commonly, political expedience. It was trendy and profitable to be socially liberal. The LGBTQ identity became a new consumer to exploit. The progressive ally became a new voter base to woo. Our human dignity became a cost to police the third world and justify imperialist endeavours. It paid to be on our side. Then came our retreat from the international world. Britain became insular, self-loathing, and being an ally became an inconvenience. The well-meaning workplace EBI policy is now going to be attacked in the courts, as we saw with the University of Sussex being ordered to pay a £585,000 fine under freedom of speech regulations. Accommodating workplaces have been dismantled through employment tribunals. Service workers are now regularly filmed, harassed and doxed by transphobes for simply doing their jobs. Politicians are either captured by this radical chauvinism, afraid to speak out in fear of a negative headline, or they simply do not care. As trans people, we have to recognise the fickle nature of patronage and reliance on paper freedoms. As trans people, we have been politicised whether we want it or not. Our choice now is how passive we are to be. Are we going to absolutely wait for the next patron to come along and hope they win power from sheer force of popularity and have the goodwill to remember our struggle? We say no, and we say it's time to act. With Trans Liberation Group, we have a nationwide cadre of organisers being developed. We were able to create sustained campaigns rooted in theory, strategy and lived experience. We are beginning to develop our own frameworks and our own theoretical understandings of the struggle. We approach collaborators as equals, inviting them to join our fight from a position of power. We are becoming an active political force. We are having a say in our destiny, and we are fighting to live freely.
So we're just going to do a few more chants, and then we're going to have a little impromptu march. We'd like to come along to walk. Trans rise, workers rise, one struggle, one fight. Trans rise, workers rise,
One struggle, one fight.
trans rise, migrants rise.
One struggle, one fight.
Trans rise, migrants rise.
One struggle, one fight.
Trans rise, women's rights.
One struggle, one fight.
Trans rise, women's rights.
One struggle, one fight.
So Blue's just going to read a little closing thing, and then we'll set off on the march.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our shouters, our singers, our speakers, and our quiet attendees also. I'm going to do a shameless self-plug now. If you're thinking, wow, I wish the left in Leeds was more coordinated. There's so many events and it's hard to know what's going on. Well, Leeds Commons calendar is launching on Monday. One calendar for the leftist events all over Leeds. And there's even a WhatsApp channel where you can get a roundup every Sunday of what's on in the week to come. If you're an organizer, you can submit events on our website to promote them at the launch day. Follow us on Instagram. Our name is Commons Calendar Leeds. Everybody say, Commons Calendar Leeds.
Commons Calendar Leeds.
And now it's in your head. Finally, if you're a person who's at risk of receiving hostility in gendered toilets and doesn't feel safe to use them, I have 15 radar keys for accessible public bathrooms to give out. So come and find me probably at work or in a minute. After all, disabled rights, trans rights, one struggle, one fight. So I'm just finding the sound. Okay, now, remember, as trans people, we know how to fight. Look to those who've come before us. Our community is fierce, and it always has been, and that's a fire and a strength that lives in each of us as well. I believe that if we take care of ourselves and each other, if we're brave, and if we're loved, we can endure and overcome so much. It's a hard time right now for trans people, so I want to send a message to the trans community. And I'm holding those that we've lost to transphobia very presently as we say this, but I'd like you to repeat after me. Take care. Be brave.
Be brave.
We love you.
We love you.
Take care.
Take care.
Be brave.
Be brave.
We love you.
We love you.
Great. And get organized. Okay, we're heading to work. Who's coming with us? Gather over.
Everybody else.
Unless you're under 18. Please go ahead.
Not the clinic, not the state. We decide our own fate. Not the clinic, not the state.
We decide our own fate.
Not the clinic, not the state.
We decide our own fate.
Not the clinic, not the state.
We decide our own fate.
Not the clinic, not the state.
We decide our own fate.
Not the clinic, not the state.
We decide our own fate.
We will not be quiet. Someone will hire. We will not be quiet. Someone will riot. We will not be quiet. We will not be quiet.
French power, let's go.
So they are going on a march now. Where did the lads go? They must have already gone ahead. Oh, are you there?
I've seen a couple of them, yeah.
I wonder why I was going to see if you're coming, but they must have already set off.
It's some sort of march now then, yeah, they're doing it.
This is now an illegal march
Yeah.
because they have not given 6 clear days notice, and it is the organiser and probably that guy that just said we're going to go on a march and got everybody else to do it. That would be liable.
They're the ones who get in
for
trouble.
prosecution, yeah.
Oh, let's see what happens then. They don't stop something happens there. Maybe we'll get in trouble.
I very much doubt the police will do anything about it.
No, they won't probably.
If it was the Seacroft lot,
oh, definitely.
You know, the anti-migration.
Yeah.
I think the police would be here.
Yeah.
They're dealing with it.
Yeah, certainly would, wouldn't they?
Yeah. It's an anti-graft shaft, is that now?
A what?
It's an anti-graft shaft. It's coming up to do. That's my like patented name for it.
Absolutely fucking stupid! That's what I think of you lot! Go fuck yourselves! Simple! Swivel! Video me! Absolutely fucking stupid! You know what it is? My sister-in-law's a lesbian, my other half. You're bisexual. She's gender. She's so gender. You're absolutely pathetic. She's so gender. And the day doesn't matter. She's still a human.
I'm not sure if she was arguing for the same thing as them and just didn't realise it.
I know, that's what I thought as well.
She's talking about family that she's got that's transgender.
Yes, I know.
And that they're pathetic.
All what they agree with, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure she was agreeing with them, but has probably had a few too many beers and didn't realise what she was saying.
Yeah, that's what was going on there, I think. So much moonshine was going on there. She was arguing with the people on the same cause. This is nice, a nice impromptu match. I didn't know we were having a match. Love a good match every now and again.
That person agreed with you. That person agreed with you. She was just really confused.
Sorry. Walking into that.
Rainbow parrot.
Sorry guys, I'm just trying to hold my coffee and the stick at the same time.
So we go, three for you, three for me, Stop the clinic, not the state! We decide our own fate! Not the clinic, not the state. We decide our own fate. Not the clinic, not the state. We decide our own fate. Not the clinic, not the state. We decide our own fate. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. We're here. We're clear. We will not live in fear. When trans people are under attack, what do we do? When trans people are under attack, what do we do? When trans people are under attack, what do we do? When trans people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, my man! If they don't give us justice, then we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. If they don't give us justice, we won't give them peace. Trans rights, workers' rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, workers' rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, women's rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, women's rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, women's rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, workers' rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, migrants' rights. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights, migrants' rights. One struggle, one fight. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. We will not be quiet. No one will be quiet. Stop the clinic, stop the state. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. Stop the clinic, stop the state. We decide our own fate. The trans people are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. The trans people are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. The trans people are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. The trans people are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that.
peace. No peace. It's giving yeah, but it closed not long after all that closed down, was it? I think it was something like closed down before we even actually moved.
I think they're going to a pub.
A pub?
I think so, yeah, to like a bar or something.
Alright.
Otherwise, please just show somebody try to say from the way back. Just look out on our Instagram pages, the people who organised this demo, or especially one work and power, troublemakers aware, just pray further progress, and we shall see you again and make some trouble.
Thanks very much for joining us, guys. They're going to go for a little socialise, little drink, whatever, in the Wharf, I think it's called. Oh yeah, Wharf Chambers. Wharf Chambers. There we go. So guys, for now, we are going to wrap up here in Leeds. We're going to go drink my coffee. I got a coffee before it started, and I ain't been able to drink it yet because I've been busy. But yeah, guys, for now we are going to wrap up.